better off just
Don't save me time.
It's 3 hours to St. Louis to Dallas, so you got to wait 2 hours. That's 5 hours. Then an hour from the airport's 3 and 2 is 5, and then 2 hours flight. I have 6.5. So that makes 2 hours.
We go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Ducks Unlimited. Check out the Duck Expo. It's going to be August 3rd through 5th.
Yep, first weekend in August.
Me and Andy will be there. We will have a booth. The whole Stanfield clan will be there. We'll have a booth. We'll have a Stanfield hunting booth and a Big Honker Podcast booth.
First,
there.
second, and third.
First, second, and third. Okay. Making sure about that August, the days I said.
The very first weekend, which is also the first.
The first. Well, I'll be able to remember it that way from now on. But anyways, me and Andy, we're going to be doing some live podcast from the DU event. Some will be on the DU channel. Some will be on ours. They have a studio set up there. So come by and see us. And maybe we'll get you in on a podcast with us. We're going to do some, it'll be all duck stuff
No,
there.
we won't.
We won't what?
But we're not getting them on.
We're not?
No.
So there ain't nobody listening to this.
They're not invited.
Okay. So anyways, August 1st, come to Memphis, Tennessee to the Duck Expo. Ought to be a big time shindig. Ducks Unlimited don't do anything that's not first class. So come out to the Duck Expo. See all the big names in the waterfowl industry, including Andy Shaver.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. You're welcome.
So this is, we're going to do a world on fire, but we're going to talk about some other things too.
Boy, I tell you
The
what.
world is on fire, literally.
I was pretty content with knowing my family was going to grow up in Costa Rica. We got the last day there. Shit was popping off in Iran. My wife gets on Facebook and house pops up. It's in a nice surf town. You know what? Just fucking buy that house and I'll
What's
work
a
it
house
out.
down there cost?
This one, $275, like 4,000 square feet. Pool.
What are you going to do in Costa Rica for a living?
So I got this all planned out. I would open a coffee shop, or I'd work at one, learn the ropes a little bit for
You're
a
going
week
to
or
pay
two.
for a $275,000 house working at a coffee
Yeah,
shop.
hell yeah. Nobody there works, Jeff. Nobody there. And then I was gonna find a jiu-jitsu gym, and I would mop mats because money's gonna be tight. I understand that. Mop mats for free tuition until I get my purple belt, and then open my own shop down there. So I'd have a coffee shop and a jiu-jitsu place. You can get both at the same place.
What?
Jesse might have to hook a little bit, but that's we got to make ends meet. We got to make ends meet.
Jessie, what she does, she could do down there.
She could, yeah. Go to work at a resort or something, or her own place. I don't know. I don't know how the women really take care of themselves down there.
So have you told Michelle that she's going to lose her grandkids? 2 grandkids?
Well, we made it back.
So the plan's not to go back down there. That's
No.
just
The
you got
plan
stuff
was
on
like
there.
if God forbid, which I don't think that this is gonna happen.
So we're going to have contingency plans for where we're at.
I just meant like if a nuclear bomb did drop before we got back, we were going to be Costa Rican.
Okay. Well, we're going to be in St. Louis for Squad Fest. What are we doing there?
We're driving home. But yeah, I'm getting out of that shit.
Okay, Oklahoma City for Delta. We can walk home if we had to.
We could. It would be it'd be rough.
Be a better walk than fucking Costa Rica or St. Louis.
I wouldn't come home from Costa Rica.
But St. Louis you would.
Yeah, I'd figure out how to
You
get
don't
home.
want your in spot to be in St.
Fuck
Louis.
no. But
Okay.
Costa Rica's not on anybody's radar to bomb. Like, they don't even have
No.
a military down there.
No.
They're just all about that pura vida lifestyle, which I dig.
So
I'd have been Costa Rican. Done a little bit of ayahuasca with Aaron Rodgers maybe after, once this coffee shop gets well known and I get some celebrities in there.
I guess you're thinking post-nuclear war is just going to be thriving in Costa Rica,
Oh,
but
it'd be
everywhere
great.
else is going to be bad, huh?
It's going to be a shithole everywhere else, but it'll be paradise in Costa Rica.
And then we go to Memphis. So we're going to get stuck in St. Louis, Memphis, or Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City looks like a jewel.
Like, here's my deal with all this going on. I've heard a lot back and forth, right? If you listen to the Trump camp and the Israel camp, Iran's 5 minutes away from getting a nuclear weapon. Netanyahu's been saying that since 1996.
Do we trust Netanyahu, though?
Tucker Carlson's had a lot of people on his show that are like, Iran does not want a nuclear weapon.
Well,
And
I don't buy that.
And he's like, and they definitely don't want to drop it anywhere. He said, let's logistically think about this. If they drop a nuclear bomb on Israel
They're glass.
in 5 minutes,
Yes, I agree.
so it's like, does Iran have a death wish?
But how do we know one of those missiles? No. First, I'm gonna give my side on this.
Okay,
on
go
my,
ahead.
on my standpoint, not the whole. Just before we start into this, I am pro-Israel, but I don't trust Israel.
No,
Is where I'm at now. I trust Jewish people. I don't trust
The
the
leader.
Israeli government no more than I trust our own government. I've got three. There's people I trust in our government. I trust Donald Trump. I think he's going to make the right decision for America. We cannot afford for Iran to have a nuclear warhead. The common sense says that whatever country possesses a nuclear warhead will not use it because a retaliation is the end of the times.
I mean, North Korea's got these, don't they?
No,
They've got big bombs.
they got ICBMs or something, which is a
I don't know.
intercontinental
Ballistic missile.
is what that stands for. I don't think they have nuclear warheads. I wouldn't trust that little fishmonger with one either. But those people over there hate each other. I've always said before, if you want to wipe out the problems over there, give them all nuclear warheads, only shoot 3 miles, and they'll wipe themselves out real quick. But I agree with Tucker Carlson. I don't think that I don't think Iran. I think Iran knows if they try to nuke Israel,
They're done.
that they're done. But
They're done. All of NATO is going to descend upon them instantly because they're going to know when these things
Israel's
get
not
launched.
part of NATO.
They're going to drag the United States in.
Well, that's
Big
that's
Brother's
what you
got
have to have.
Big
in
Brother's got to step in. We're going to send all our shit over there.
there. All the other countries are relevant. All the European countries are irrelevant.
You don't think that they're going to step
They
in?
don't. No, it doesn't matter if they do.
Big Brother's
The
gonna step
United
in.
States is the one that everybody worries about. That's who you want on your side.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if China and the United States got together and said, "You know what? We're taking over the world," or us and Russia?
Right.
I mean, it would be the whole. It's not going to happen, and we don't need that to happen. But
I just don't know that they have the death wish that everybody thinks that they do.
what's scary is their religion teaches them if they die as a martyr, they get 72
You think
virgins.
everybody's on board with that?
No, I don't think the Iranian. I don't think that.
You think the average Iranian citizen like, yeah, fuck yeah, just send it over here
No.
and let's end it all so I can get my peace in paradise.
No, I don't think. I think if you could get a legit poll of Iranians,
They're probably
I
against
think
it,
that
too.
they're about 70% of them are tired of this shit. They've been oppressed.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Like pee or poop.
Ooh, that Zen hit me.
Okay, so it's going to be 10 minutes.
No,
5 minutes.
not with this one.
Okay, well, sometimes they have friends.
What? Hopefully that's the last of that all inclusive.
Been bad the whole time.
The end.
So back to old Benny,
Yes.
whatever his name is, Benny,
Netanyahu.
Netanyahu. So there's people I trust. I trust Donald Trump. I think he's got the best interest of America, and he's got a bad thing he's going through because he's got a tough decision. Because I don't want us going to war. I don't want us putting any troops on the ground. I don't understand in today's military why we even have to put anybody on drum. So I don't want no part of that. But I don't want Iran to have a nuclear warhead because it only takes one crazy dude that's up against. He's got nothing to lose. His whole cabinet's been wiped out. Everybody. So I can see him, if he's got one, shipping one off somewhere.
You think he could just say, "Oh fuck it, we're done"?
Yeah.
All our people.
He's done. I don't think he cares about any of these people. They're oppressing 70% of the people, or 80, or they're slavery basically.
But just
You're not rational thinking people.
Would you have to do less to start a war?
What do you mean?
Nuclear bomb is like the end all be all.
It's only happened one time ever.
Aren't there other moves that he could make if he really wanted to just end everything over there? If he really had a death wish?
I don't think he's got a death wish. I think he's.
But that's what he
facing
would
it
have.
now.
That's what he would have to have for him to launch a nuclear warhead.
I don't think he's got
into Israel
I don't think he has a lot. I don't think he's going to do it in Israel.
or wherever.
I can see him sending one to Rome or
for him to
somewhere.
launch a nuclear warhead. He has to know that it's over for him.
Yes.
Aren't there other things that he could do if that is his goal? Are there not other things that he could do besides a nuclear warhead to have the wrath of the United States and the entire world upon his country.
He's got that now. They're getting the shit bombed at him every night or missiled every night. Every day, their cabinets are getting wiped out. People that are in advisory boards are getting killed every night. But I think that Israel took Iran kind of lightly on some things.
The thing that I heard is that the whole reason Israel wants this now is because Iran is weak. They're at the weakest moment that they've been in a long time.
Yeah,
and
right.
if they're going to topple Iran, now's the time to do it.
The thing is,
so
I don't know.
Go back to the United States like he's been doing since the 90s and say, they've got it. They're 5 minutes away from getting it. You got to go. We got to act now.
That's what makes this so complicated. First of all, we can't afford for them to get the nuclear weapon. I really believe that. I don't think they need a nuclear weapon at all.
If you listen to Tucker's people, they don't want a nuclear warhead.
Yeah, they want one. Everybody wants one. Why would you not? Costa Rica would like to have one.
No, they canceled their military in 1948, Jeff. I know all about my Costa Rican history.
It gives you stability.
They were in a bloody civil war, and they said, we don't need this.
It gives you stability. Because, okay, Costa Rica is different. There ain't nobody going to take over Costa Rica. They've got someone that's going to protect them called the United States of America, probably, because there's a lot of U.S. interest down there.
A lot.
And so, no. That's
good ayahuasca.
No, that's not going to happen. All these companies want nuclear, or all these countries want a nuclear warhead. It gives them stability. That's why they want one so bad. That's why Ukraine wants them again, because it automatically gives you some leverage. So, but back to people I trust. I trust Donald Trump. I trust Ted Cruz.
Boy, that was a feisty debate.
It was, and I trust Tucker Carlson too.
One of them's got to be wrong.
Exactly, and I don't know which one it is. I would think that Ted Cruz would have more intel than Tucker does. But I also believe Ted Cruz is like all politicians. Is he doing what's best for us, or is he doing what's best for the war machine? Can you imagine all of those missiles are being shot every day in Israel and in Iran? Who's making money off that? Who's selling?
I can tell you it's probably costing us on both sides. We're probably funded both sides of it.
I'm not talking about the United States as the one spending the money. Who's making the money?
I don't know.
Is our good old Mac Thornberry, that's a lobbyist for a defense department, is he working? Is his company that he lobbies for, are they selling the powder?
Right.
Or somebody is getting wealthy off this.
Yeah.
They're shooting $3 million missiles or whatever they are, hundreds of them all the time.
Right.
Somebody's paying for that, and somebody's making money. So I don't trust nothing those people do, because that's their paycheck. So they're making a lot of money.
I'm surprised that interview aired, to be honest with you, because I don't think either one came across very good. Tucker Carlson seemed like a snotty brat across from Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz seemed like a warmonger.
And
like
usually,
I honestly, and I've only seen clips of it, I hadn't seen the whole thing, but the clips that I've seen, neither one came off very good.
And Ted Cruz is usually the smartest man in the room.
Ted Cruz got flustered with Tucker Carlson.
He did.
He told him to quit being snarky.
Yeah. This is how I would end the war if I was Trump, or this is how I would do this if I was Trump.
I can't wait to hear this.
Well, I would. You could only do this if you're not going to be able to run against president. I would take one of those bunker busters, and I would follow it up with a small tactical nuclear warhead. And I'm going to tell you why. When you drop that nuclear warhead in that hole and it blows up, you've contaminated that whole site. So there won't be nobody doing no nuclear work in there ever again. So you completely take it out of the program forever. And I'm assuming that we have a nuclear warhead that we can keep within a half mile of fallout and stuff. I'm sure there's some kind of nuclear warhead that we have, precision nuclear warhead, that can keep it within a small confined area. If we have that, that's what I would do.
I think it's a terrible idea. I just think you would have the wrath of the world at that point.
The wrath of the world's against us anyways.
I think it would really be against you then.
But why?
I think that you would start seeing other things come across the pond.
Russia's not going to get involved with us. China's not going to get involved with us. Pakistan, India, France, Europe.
The rest of the world really would hate us then.
They hate
It'd
us
be
anyways.
all over with.
Are we in it to make friends or keep Americans safe? Because here's what I'm afraid is going to happen.
You got to trust your intel. Tulsi Gabbard said that they are not building a nuclear warhead. So who do you believe?
Well, but I don't
this is
know.
Tulsi's
I
job.
heard that. I know that. I don't know.
And she said they are not close to and she was not invited to the summit, by the way.
But why?
Why was she not invited to the summit?
I can't answer that. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. This is the most confusing, perplexed situation I can remember in our whole life. There's no clear-cut answer to anything. I mean, we went through the weapons of mass destruction stuff with the Bush boys, or the Bush father and son. We've got a president now that doesn't want to be in war.
Yes.
But his responsibility is to keep America safe.
Right.
So we got to figure out what's safe and what's not safe. Now, we've got an aircraft carrier or something not very far from Iran.
He said we control the airspace.
We do, but we can't control those missiles. They're hitting in. I mean, they'll shoot 300 or 400 of them. What if one of them's got a nuclear deal and hits one of our aircraft carriers, wipes out 6,000 people? You know that, and then everybody's going to say, "Well, God dang it, Trump! Why didn't you do something about it? We've been you knew they had that capability." Or what if your kid's on that boat?
Or what if it turns out to be another? What if this? If this goes on for another 25 years, we're gonna have 50 years of war.
That's why we need to cut the head off if we're going to do this. We either need to shit or get off the pot.
Don't be half-assed.
No, if you're going to do this, end it, and to end all of it.
But how are you going to do that? Because that's the thing. Like, that's just like we got rid of Saddam Hussein, and then another one pops up, and then another one pops up. It's a hydra.
That's another problem too. Is you got to have a contingency plan when it's over. But we don't need to prop up another freaking government.
But that's what you're going to have to do.
Let them sort that shit out themselves.
But then you're just going to be right back here. Well, because these people have been raised with American troops on their ground for 25 years. There's nobody over there that doesn't remember a time when they were not an occupied country. They're not going to be there. I guarantee you, if the roles were reversed, and they do shout death to America, but if we had Spain in our backyard for 25 years, we would be shouting death to Spain. We would not have good feelings towards our Spaniard brothers.
I'm not debating that at all. I'm 100% agreeing with you.
But that's just what's going to happen. I don't know what the answer is.
See, at least I'm trying to come up with a solution.
But I just know that if you get rid of their leader, there's going to be another person that fills the void, and they are not going to have warm, fuzzy feelings towards America.
They're not going to fill his boots, though. That's the problem.
So we're going to have to prop up somebody.
No. I know, but what I'm saying is this guy is like Osama bin Laden to these camel guys. They love this dude. There's no telling. I'm going to bet you there's 100,000 pissed off Iranians that love Ayatollah that are living right here in the United States of America.
I'm sure.
And we have no idea how many since the last 4 years. No telling how many. I'm actually shocked of all the warnings that was supposed to happen for the Army's birthday that we didn't have something happen.
Yeah. What happened with that? Because that was like one of our last nights there. We get this warning. I see this warning on Twitter. Iran says tonight is the night we will remember for centuries.
Nothing.
So I wake up
expecting something to happen.
I start scrolling Twitter as soon
too.
as I got on, because their night's different than our night and everything, and I didn't know how much of a time difference there was. I was like, well, maybe they're waiting. I don't know.
I have a 6-hour sabbatical from about midnight to 6 in the morning that I'm asleep, that I'm not on. And when I woke up at 6 o'clock, first thing I did, look at my phone and look at Twitter and look at Fox News to see what happened overnight, and nothing. They've shot their wad on a lot of stuff. But okay, let's say we don't knock out this nuclear facility. We don't.
If it exists. You're going to assume that they are 5 minutes away from a nuclear warhead.
I'm not talking about the nuclear warhead. I'm talking about this Hoda or whatever this place is called in this mountain.
Yeah.
It's there. We know it's there. They did some kind of testing in it the other day because there was an underground seismic event that happened there. One of them might have blew itself up. I don't know. But something's going on in there. So let's say we don't do nothing there.
Yeah.
And we just walk away from there, and Israel's on their own.
Call their bluff.
And they keep fighting it out for 6 months or 9 months or whatever the hell it takes. And we don't do nothing. 3 years from now, Trump's in those last days of office, and we're facing this shit all over again. We've got to do something if we're going to do it, or we need to just turn our back, pull all of our resources and people out of the Middle East.
Is Trump getting close to the point where people are adversaries are going to stop taking him seriously? Because like right now, he's a master at bluffing. You know what I mean?
I don't know, but
Like, there's going to come a point he keeps throwing out these threats that he's going to have to back it up with a punch.
we brought in $88 billion in tariff money last month. $88 billion. So is his threats working?
Right.
Or in his deals? I mean, he's negotiated all these people down to good deals. I mean, he's done a good job. When's the last time you heard about tariff?
But I just mean as far as rubber meeting the road. Because that's what he's always said. You do anything to America, and you will have generations that will pay for it.
Well, in Syria, they fucked with him, and he bombed the shit out of them one time. Because I was on my way to the airport when that happened. Mm-hmm. And I told Michelle, I said, oh, great.
Here we go.
But I
did. I got up that morning, started scrolling Twitter, like, do we have a flight out of here today?
You know, his numbers last night I read on, he hasn't lost no numbers in his poll numbers. People are for that.
I don't think any.
People that nobody knows what to do on this deal. It's not like you got a clear cut deal.
Right.
And what's funny is I saw a poll yesterday that 77%, and my numbers may be off a little bit, 77% of Trump voters agree we need to get rid of Iran. And we need to wipe out that deal. 77%
on the other side,
or 77% of the Democrats want us to keep funding Ukraine. It's complete opposite. We're the same numbers of people against Ukraine as they are for this deal in Iran and Israel. Now, go ahead.
This is a dumb question. Does Israel have a nuclear warhead?
Yes.
So why are they getting us involved?
Nobody wants to go to nuclear. I'm the one that brung up I would put a nuke in that son of a bitch.
Oh, well, that's what
and I put that on Facebook 3 times, and all 3 times my post was deleted. So I'm thinking, maybe I'm onto something here that the government's fixing to do, and they keep deleting my deal.
Oh, you just can't put nuke on Facebook.
But I did. I said I would put a small one right in that hole, end it, be done with it. And a good friend of mine from high school called me out on the deal. He's like, Jeff, I don't think that's a good idea. I said, I don't know. He said, I think all the allies in the region. I said, yeah, they're going to be pissed. But that's the only way we're going to get this site, because it'll be contaminated where nobody can be in it. Now, let's talk about Israel for a minute.
Okay.
I'm not a Bible scholar. You're the deacon at the church, not me.
Not a deacon.
So my question is, I have not read the Bible enough to know all the stories on Israel. And maybe I'm like Tucker Carlson on this deal.
You saw that clip?
Are we dealing with the Israel
that God intended?
Yes. Or are we dealing with Israel that's been propped up by... Israel's the one that hired Jeffrey Epstein. You think you're laughing at that?
Could be.
Would you be shocked? Do you know anything about the USS Cole?
Is that the one that we sunk on purpose?
Look it up.
USS Cole?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. I want to make sure we're factual on it.
Well, first of all, so Tucker Carlson, or Ted Cruz says, I'm a Christian. I believe what the Bible says. The Bible says you have to protect Israel to be the chosen
Israelites.
Whatever. Tucker Carlson said, where is that at in the Bible?
And where is Israel?
Genesis is where it's at in the Bible. Every biblical person that we've ever had sit in that chair or on this computer has always said that Old Testament doesn't count anymore.
Yeah, but who made them rules?
When Jesus came and died on the cross, the Old Testament is more of a
history book than truth.
This is how it used to be, but now all of that, keep it, but don't adhere to it.
Did God come out and say this?
What?
That we do not need to follow the Old Testament anymore.
Everybody that I've talked to, I don't know that, but everybody that I have talked to has said, Jesus came, the Old Testament is the way of the past, and now you're supposed to live by the New Testament.
Okay, hold on.
Genesis is as old as it gets. That's the first book in the Bible.
We're going to call a preacher that we both trust.
Who?
Tex. And get his opinion on this.
But
of course, no service in here. Freaking Variety, that'll be against a damn law to sell cell phone service to anybody.
Maybe I can FaceTime him. That might be better anyway, because I think I can Bluetooth this.
Tex Cox is my preacher. Most people all know that listen to this podcast, since we have 99% of the same people listen. But all the new people, because we have a lot of growth. He's my preacher. We're going to call him.
Okay, Tex, can you hear us?
Gotcha.
All right.
Hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. So, We're talking about the Ted Cruz Tucker Carlson interview. Have you seen that? Parts of it, clips of it? Okay, so
No, I haven't.
we're talking about the Iran-Israel controversy that's going on right now. Ted Cruz said in that interview with Tucker Carlson that in the Bible it says we have to protect Israel. That part's in Genesis. Is that still relevant to today?
Man, why y'all call me opening up a can of worms all the time?
Because you're the only one smart enough to step in it.
Yeah, right. No. So I mean, you're gonna open up a whole can of worms on this deal. So expect to get a lot of people calling you
That's all right.
or griping or whatever, because there's basically two different. You got two different methods of looking at this. So there's a group that I believe is dispensationalist, and they believe exactly what you're talking about. That Israel is the chosen, the chosen tribe or whatever. And there's lots of scripture that says, if you bless Israel, I'll bless you. If you curse Israel, I'll curse you. All that kind of stuff. So there's a whole bunch that believe that yes, we are to stick with Israel no matter what. That's what we're supposed to do. But then you got another. I think it's called covenant theology. I'm not sure on that 100%. But basically, and you got the scripture talking about the grafted vine, that God has grafted us into the Israel family of God through Jesus and all that kind of stuff. Those are all scriptures, and I guess it depends on your theology, your point of view, all that kind of stuff. But when we receive Jesus as our Lord and Savior, we are born again believers. We're in the kingdom of God. That is our access to the kingdom of God. You got to go so far into this, because what is Israel that we know today, the Israel that God's talking about then?
Right. That's what
I mean?
that's what Tucker Carlson said. He's like, is the Israel today the one that is in the Bible that we're supposed to protect and bless?
You could look at it from a Christian standpoint. How many denominations do you think we have as Christians?
Oh my goodness, there's no
Thousands.
telling. Yeah.
You can't even make that number up.
Right.
I mean, we got 7 churches in Knox City.
Right.
So that means that 7 different churches in Knox City don't all have the same theology and belief about everything that's in the Bible. If that's the case for Christians, how many different quote unquote denominations do you think there are for Israelites?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You want to go into other religions? How many different sects of my mind went blank.
Muslims?
Yeah, I mean, just pick a religion. How many different denominations are there? I'm trying to think of the Arab.
Hebrew or Arabic?
Yeah, but what is their? Why is my brain not connecting with their religion?
Isn't it Muslim? It's not Muslims?
Muslim. There you go, Muslim. Thank you. I don't know why my brain.
Well, you've had a long day there, Tex.
But look, yeah. But look at them. I mean, they can't even agree on everything that's in their religion, so to speak.
Right.
Okay, simple.
Now,
But so like with that being Old Testament though, that's not anything that we're supposed to necessarily take as law right now, correct?
I mean, if you want to take it from a law standpoint, do this or be blessed, or do that and be cursed, then no, that's not. We're not under that anymore.
Right.
We're already blessed because we're already kings in the kingdom. We're blessed regardless of what we do or don't do. And that's going to stir up a lot of controversy right there, but it is what it is. Um, should we love and honor and should we protect Israel to the best of our ability? Yeah, I think so. Not because of what people are trying to say about what God says in the Bible. We should do it because that is an honor, and I do believe that's a nation we should honor. There's a lot more to it than we can sit here and talk about on the side of the highway.
Right.
But, I just don't see it as being an end all for everything.
Here's my question I have, Tex. Is the New Testament, where in the New Testament does it say that the Old Testament doesn't count anymore, basically?
It doesn't say that anywhere. I mean, the Old Testament is a huge part of the New Testament because it's the shadows of where we're at today. Without the Old Testament, how do I word this right? In such a on the spot type deal. All through the Old Testament, God shows His love for us and His mercy for us. And all through the Old Testament, Jesus is right there with Him. And you can go back and read, and if you will read the Old Testament through the eyes of Jesus, you're going to see Jesus from the very beginning in Genesis. You're going to automatically start seeing that God had this plan all along, and every time you go through what people call the Old Testament stories with David and Joseph and you name all these people, you're going to see Jesus in every one of those stories. And I just said stories. It's our history.
Right.
Um, if you're what your question is telling me is when did the law part of the Old Testament when did we do away with that part? Not that we don't learn it and read about it and see, but the law was made to push us towards Jesus. The law was made um, to show us that we cannot do it. We can't fulfill the law. But then Jesus came and He did fulfill the law. And when we come to Jesus, we've done everything we need to do from the law standpoint because Jesus took care of that for us. Now, if you're not in Jesus, if you're not a believer, then you probably ought to be living by the law. But guess what? We won't be able to do it either. You're just as screwed as everybody else ever was in the whole history of the universe. You can try, you can do a good job, but you ain't gonna cut the mustard. So the question kind of has a double tier to it because the Old Testament, I love the Old Testament. I love all that stuff. It and if you can ever get out of the performance mentality that most of Christianity has, if you can ever get out of that mindset that I've got to do this, in Deuteronomy 28, first 13 or 14 verses are if you do this, you'll be blessed. The next 14 verses are if you don't do this, you'll be cursed. And that they were under the law. Well, Jesus fulfilled everything so that we can always be blessed.
Right.
Now, we don't always live that way, but that is our potential. Um, anyway, let's get in. You want to do another 3-hour podcast on
Yeah.
the side of the road?
No. We'll get you next time. Whenever you're in town, get with Jeff, and then we'll get you out here to do another one. My last question for the side of the road.
I meant today.
No, yeah. My next question for the side of the road is: do you think that Israel has given us accurate information about how close Iran is to nuclear capabilities?
That's all you needed to say right there.
You know what?
Service is getting mad all of a sudden.
Who can we trust anymore, guys? Who can we really trust anymore?
Right.
I mean, if I say no, and then they do have those capabilities, to me, it's not worth the risk. It's really not worth it. They want those capabilities. They want to use them against us. And I haven't dove deep enough into this yet. But it looks to me from some of the little clips I'm seeing here and there, are they getting close to maybe being able to free Iran from the terror hold that's been on it all these years when it's screwed it all up, and liberate them? Is that something the Iranian people really want? Because you see that they're hoping that this regime, or whatever you call it, is fixing to get kicked out. They're going to have the old Iran back. And I don't know, was the old Iran before Ayatollah or whatever his name is, was that a good Iran?
Right.
So to speak. I don't know all those details, but yeah, if you ask me if I trust that they're giving us accurate information, I mean, nah, you're not going to be on the right side of that question, no matter how you answer.
Right. Because Tulsi
What do
Gabbard,
you think?
Tulsi says that no, they don't. They're not close. But there's other people in his circle, in Trump's circle, that are saying yeah, they are, and one of them is Israel.
So, did we have the right information in Vietnam?
No.
I think we did. I think we just lied. I think we knew what was going on in Vietnam, but it was a money machine. That's why John F. Kennedy's not longer with us. One of the reasons.
Did we have the right information in Iraq?
No.
When have we had the right information?
World War II.
World War II was the last one.
Thank you.
So
it's tough.
But that one was pretty
Above my
obvious.
pay grade.
yeah.
World War II was pretty obvious. Japan and Germany made it real
I think
simple.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
schoolyard
they
bully
made it
punching
simple.
All right, Tex, we love you, man. You have a good day. Be safe, my friend.
you. Thank you.
All right, take it easy.
You made it more confusing than ever, but
Yep.
we thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
See, that's the deal. Nobody can give us.
But what I said was true.
And that's, yes, my preacher owns a boring company, so he works besides preaches. Ain't nothing more honest than a small town preacher.
No. Yeah. So anyway, but what I said earlier is that's not the law that we go by anymore.
Right. And where was Israel?
We don't know.
You show me a picture of 1850 Israel.
It's not there.
That's right. That's
1948 is as close as you can get.
That's what I'm saying. There are smart people on both sides of this agenda. First of all, I don't trust any politicians because they all lie. Like Charles Schumer, when he gets up on the deal, you might as well just trying to sell me a fucking used car. Because that's what I get out of Charles Schumer when he's talking. I mean, you can go back to history from the Barbary Coast with Thomas Jefferson talking about the Muslims. And we've seen a big influx of them. Look what they've done to Europe. Look what they've done to Minneapolis. Look what they're doing to Dearborn, Michigan. I mean, it's not...
Doing anything in Iran is not going to help any of those places.
No, it's not at all. Because those people, what's crazy about it is if you go and you do something heinous to some Christians somewhere, Christians turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
Well, the Muslims don't. And you do something in Iran and someone in Colorado's pissed.
Yeah.
And it's just not a good ingredient. I don't know the answer. This is the most confusing thing that I've been in. We haven't had to hear about tariffs in Ukraine now in, 2 weeks?
But that's just the thing is what's so frustrating about it all is we finally get somebody in here that's going to fix America. Fix America. Fix America. That's all we ever heard. We're gonna have full transparency. We're gonna make America healthy again. We're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. If we go to war, you can forget about that America First policy. It's done.
I don't think that we're going to go to war, though. I think that we may lob a bomb. I don't see us going in with troops to do anything. I can see us having a conflict. We sent missiles into Syria with Trump. He ends it quick. So I'm hoping, he asked for a 2-week delay last night.
Oh, he did?
He said, I'm going to sit and think about it. I'm going to give you 2 weeks. Guess what's 2 weeks? 4th of July.
Oh.
Some foreign countries, European countries, are going to Iran to try to talk to him.
That'll be just in time for your trip.
Yes. Trust me, I've thought about that. I have a contingency plan to get back from Maine. I may not want to come back from Maine.
Might be like Costa Rica. Just this is where we are, boys and girls.
We've got a rental car. Worst comes to worst, we drive home.
We had a rental car, but
You ain't driving
I'm
home.
not driving from Costa Rica.
I can make it home from Maine. I've got enough bullshit skills. I just worry about I don't have no gun. So if anybody's listening to this and you live in Maine, let me borrow a pistol while I'm up there.
Yeah.
I don't. I hope I don't see. This is kind of like healthcare and a lot of these other things. There's just not an answer to it.
Right.
I mean, there's not an answer for healthcare. There's not a correct answer, because you're going to get the naysayers anyways. I trust Donald Trump to make the right decision for the American people, because he loves America and he loves our soldiers. I'm glad we're not fixing to send in the 81st Airborne. I'm sure we have assets on the ground over there. I bet you every country in the world we have assets in.
Yeah.
CIA, somebody's in there right now. But I don't want us to get into one of those Iraq, Afghanistan deals where we've got guys over there for 5 years and you can't shoot him, but he can shoot at you. Then if he shoots you can shoot at him and shit. I don't want to go through that crap again. And then when you accidentally shoot somebody wrong that you think's trying to hurt you and your buddies, then they want to court martial you and send to prison for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's not what we need. So I'm 100% supportive of our troops, but I 100% don't want to see our troops go over there. I wish we would take our carriers and shit out of there. We can fly from Missouri over there to bomb. Why the frick do we need a damn aircraft carrier over there?
Save money on gas. We got a deficit.
Let's stay out of Iran. But if we have to do a surgical strike, I don't want them to have a nuke. I don't. Even the threat of the. Here's the thing.
But that's the question.
Okay,
do you think they have it?
Well, here's the thing. We have an alliance. We have is it the Abraham Accord or one of them deals that we have with them where they've got to let inspectors come in and see what they're doing? Guess what? They haven't done that in 3 years. So it's on them if they don't have the weapons. If they'd let us in and seen what we were going on, why would they kick us out if they were doing compliant with everything? Mm-hmm. So you see where I'm coming from on that? I've got an issue with that, because if they were compliant and being transparent like they're supposed to be, we wouldn't be having this issue.
But maybe they're just like, fuck you. We don't have to, you're not our babysitter. Fuck off.
Why they signed the deal?
To get everybody off their back. We'll renegotiate down the line. I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here.
Why did Obama send them $2 billion in cash in the back of air? And why is that not a fucking deal? That's when all this shit came about. Mm-hmm. They sent them $2 billion or more cash in the middle of the night. Cash money. Why? What gave him the right to do that? I keep seeing the Democrats bitch, Trump don't have the. Who gave Obama the right to put, $2 billion cash on a damn pallet?
Right.
I don't trust our politicians at all.
I don't know who this guy is, but he was on Tucker Carlson.
We were hearing this week that Iran is just weeks away from building a nuclear weapon, and so we need to take out the nuclear sites. We need to effect regime change in Iran. I feel like I've been hearing that Iran is weeks away from a nuclear weapon for at least 25 years.
Yes, verbatim at least a decade, and for longer in substance, yes.
Is Iran weeks away from building a nuclear weapon? Does Iran want a nuclear weapon? Will Iran get a nuclear weapon? What is the truth about Iran?
Iran does not want a nuclear weapon. Iran's neighbors, like the Saudis and others in the Gulf, do not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Iran's major ally, Russia, does not want Iran to have a nuclear
where's
weapon.
the cursor?
And Iran doesn't want a nuclear weapon.
I don't know why it's not.
Just click right. Okay.
Iran.
All right. He said Iran does not want a nuclear weapon. Saudi Arabia and all his allies don't want a nuclear weapon. There's a big difference between their allies not wanting a nuclear weapon and Iran doesn't want a nuclear weapon.
He said Iran doesn't want it.
I understand
and
that.
their allies don't want one.
No. Their allies don't want them to have one. I agree with that. But why would Iran, why would they not want a nuclear weapon? Why? Give me one reason why they would not want one.
I think the attention that it would bring to their country.
More negative attention they already get?
More.
There's no way.
You're already talking about them wanting to kick out the people that are in charge of, whatever their sanctions are.
They already have done that.
You would have that times 10 if they got a nuclear weapon. You would have people up their ass all the time.
So what? So somebody.
I'm just trying to make sense of what this guy said.
Here's the deal. First of all, there's no rules in war,
and I don't know who this guy is.
Okay, I don't either. But I think,
but he's got gray hair and he looks smart.
I think he's wrong about Iran not wanting a nuclear warhead. They wouldn't be working to get this. The Ayatollah wouldn't come out and say, "Hey, we're going to get one, and you can't do nothing about it." They've been open about they're trying to get one. So I don't buy. I buy everything he said so far, except the fact that Iran does not want a nuclear weapon. They've been trying to get a nuclear weapon for 30, 40 years for a reason. Now you can go ahead and go.
I'm just trying to read the comments, see who this guy is.
Does not want to be defeated militarily by Israel, does not want to be bombed to hell by Israel, and does not want to be sanctioned to death economically by the United States, which the U.S. has been doing now for endless years.
We were hearing this week.
So let me, because there was a clip in, there was a bit in there that I didn't get to hear when I was trying to pause it. So I'm going to try to fast forward.
Take out the nuclear sites. We need to effect regime change.
Want to be defeated militarily by Israel, does not want to be want a nuclear weapon. Iran's neighbors, like the Saudis and others in the Gulf, do not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Iran's major ally, Russia, does not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And Iran doesn't want a nuclear weapon. But Iran does not want to be defeated militarily by Israel, does not want to be bombed to hell by Israel, and does not want...
Well, that's basically what
I want you to listen to this. One of the comments makes a lot of sense. If they didn't want a nuclear weapon, they wouldn't be enriching uranium to 60% or above, because its only purpose is a nuclear weapon. They've killed 600 U.S. servicemen over the last couple of decades and chant death to America, and they say they mean it. So how would you go about death to America? A nuclear weapon. And that's what I'm worried about. Why would you be enriching uranium if you didn't want?
There you go.
So that they're trying to enrich the uranium. Why? So we got to stop that. Now, what's going to happen is that, or not what's going to happen. This is a scenario. Israel's got nuclear energy, nuclear power plant. Mm-hmm. What happens when Iran puts a missile to that son of a bitch?
Right.
Because the Islamic Republic of whatever the hell them camel guys are,
right,
told Israel to evacuate that building.
Right.
Now, that right there would have been what would have happened the other night that would have changed the world.
Remember this for centuries?
Yes.
Right.
I mean, look at all the shit going on at Chernobyl. That's what, 30 years later? Mm-hmm. And they've got a concrete building built around it to try to keep that shit in there.
Yeah.
They say that Fukushima or whatever it is in Japan has got some leaking.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
I thought it was a thriving place.
No, where they had that tsunami. I think it's leaked into the ocean. Nuclear waste. I don't know for sure that. So but I know if they hit one of them missiles, hits that nuclear power plant, that's going to be a major disaster.
Right. I don't know. All I know is that I don't want to see another 25-year war.
No, I don't want
boots on the ground.
I don't want our Gold Star deal being where we've got kids lining up who lost a dad or mom over there fighting a stupid endless war again. We've done that shit over and over again.
You just gotta. I don't know. Like I said, somebody's wrong here in this Ted Cruz interview.
That's right. You got two boys.
Yeah, 25-year war would put them.
Yeah, and if we get in another one of these, the way the world's going now, when Desert Storm first happened, I was 19 years old or 20. I had friends go up and sign up to go in the military.
Yeah.
I never did. I've regretted it, but I haven't regretted it. I never wanted to be in the military, but I respect the hell out of them. I had a lot of friends that signed up and went. I don't think today, if we got into a mass war, the kids are going to have a choice.
Think there'd be another draft?
I think there'll be a draft. Mm-hmm. But I don't want us to fight a war that has no meaning. In World War II, there was a meaning.
This war could have a meaning. If Iran is truly about to have a nuclear capability, there could be severe meaning to this.
No, what I mean is that's a regional conflict.
Oh.
And it's
something that we're not directly involved in. We're being the world's police again.
Yes.
Just because Iran having a nuclear bomb is not good for the world. Therefore, Big Brother's got to come in and clean up the mess again.
Japan attacked us.
Yep.
We got pulled into the European deal. And if it didn't, it would have been us versus the German axis for still today's, we'd still be fighting. Thank God we'd had the Atlantic Ocean between us. But it would have been a long, long, if we wouldn't have won that war.
Vietnam wasn't our fight.
No,
We were
not
worried
at
about
all.
communism spreading.
Our good friend Steve Barber's older brother Lincoln, 26 years old, was a captain in the Army, got killed over there. Why did Lincoln die? What was the usage there? And
We were worried about communism spreading to the
and
West.
there's 100,000 of those people just like him. Families lost a kid for absolutely no reason. Can you tell me what the end result of the Korean War was that made us have to fight over there and have people die?
No.
What have we gained out of the Afghanistanian war? Desert Storm.
It was 9/11, but like, how did we get involved in all these auxiliary countries?
9/11. That was not 9/11. That's what they used as an excuse for it.
Right.
But
because they funded.
But what have we gained long term in the world after all these young men and young ladies have perished fighting for our freedom?
Yeah.
The only two people ever died for you, Jesus Christ and the U.S. soldier. That's it. No one else. And there's some ally soldiers too. I'm not knocking that because they have. But the soldiers and Jesus, the only people that ever died for us. But what have we gained? You know? And let's look at history. In 1948, they made Israel.
Mm-hmm.
I say we take everybody out of Israel and we give the suicide vest wearers Israel.
That's our Holy Land.
Oh, hold on. And we take that and we move it.
Start another place.
California.
Take it. It's beautiful there.
Make it Israel.
It's beautiful there. You'll love the weather.
I understand that's the Holy Land because Jesus was born there. And there's a lot of history there. But what's the difference in that and the Black Hills are to the Indians?
I've never been to Israel, and I feel like I'm a fairly good Christian. Like, I don't feel like I'm losing anything by not going over to Jerusalem.
But do the Jews believe exactly what we do? No.
Right.
I mean, I'm not anti-Jewish, so any Jews that listen to this, I'm not trying to be disrespectful because I'm not. And I understand that your Holy Land, but it was given to you in 1948. Mm-hmm. I mean, I understand that you were there before that. I've got that.
But so were they.
But yes, but it's where Jesus was born at. Where was George Washington born at? And I know it's different. It's Jesus and not, but the founder of our country. But I mean, it's just a place that was given to you some land. And I know it's got historic and ancient biblical beliefs, but I can't grasp that we're in this situation that has absolutely nothing to do with us other than to protect someone that I don't trust. Because the Israeli government, we was going to look up the USS Cole.
Oh.
I think it's the Cole was the one that the Israelis, they blew up and got us into war one time. I mean, how many times do you have to get caught up in shit and we lose before we finally wake up? Is it the USS Cole?
I don't know. It doesn't say. It just says it was bombed, but it doesn't say. Suicide terrorists exploded a small boat alongside the USS Cole after refueling in Yemeni, port of Aden. Should I look up which U.S. boat did Israel bomb?
Yeah. Or which, yeah.
It is the USS Liberty.
Liberty, yes, that's it.
Was conducting surveillance missions. It was mistakenly identified as an enemy vessel by Israeli aircraft and torpedo boats. The attack resulted in 34 crew members killed and 170 wounded.
Yeah. But
1968.
right. Why did Israel and the United States have been allies for decades? However, during the 1967 Six-Day War, a conflict in which the U.S. vowed to remain neutral, Israel launched a devastating strike on a U.S. naval vessel in international waters. 34 were killed, 171 injured. The Six-Day War was a result of a long-standing dispute between Israel and its Arab neighbors. Despite winning 2 wars in 48 and 56, Israel continued to face existential threats from a coalition of nations led by Egypt. In early 67, Israel engaged in several border clashes with Syria and Jordan. Egypt would entered a mutual defense pact with Syria and Jordan, blocked Israel access to the Straits of Tiran in May, and massed its forces in the Sinai Peninsula on Israel's border. On June 5th, Israel launched a surprise attack against Egyptian troops in the Sinai and war began. The United States vowed to remain neutral in the conflict, but kept a military presence in the region. The USS Liberty, a World War II era cargo ship refined as a surveillance vessel, was deployed in the Eastern Mediterranean the days leading up to war. The mission was to gather signals intelligence on Israel's Arab opponents and their Soviet advisors and monitor the situation from international waters. Okay, shortly afterward, the Israeli military received word that an E-1 Arish was under naval bombardment. The report turned out to be an error, but that was not discovered until long after 3 torpedo boats were dispatched to investigate. The boat spotted a vessel and blew it up. The Liberty spotted the torpedo when the air sea attack was over. Once communications were back online, it was confirmed that the Israel had attacked an American ship. The Israeli government promptly apologized for the attack and paid millions of dollars. There were several investigations by the U.S. Navy, the Joints of Staff, the CIA, the House for blah, 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 blah. Let's see what it says. Reached a different conclusion. They believe that the Liberty was deliberately attacked and that both the U.S. and Israel covered it up in a hasty investigation. They point to several holes in the official story based on published reports and declassified communications. Anyways, the tinfoil hat wearers think that they did it to try to get us in the conflict.
Right.
So that's basically what it was all about. But Israel's no saint in all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I don't trust them. And I don't know that anybody trusts them. I trust George Bush when we went to war, weapons of mass destruction. And I think that Iran, if they're enriching the uranium, is trying to build a nuclear warhead. I don't believe that guy that said Iran doesn't want a nuclear warhead. I think they do want a nuclear warhead. I don't think they'd be going through all this shit if they were trying to build a damn power plant.
Right.
So I think that we've got to take out the nuclear deal. We can't afford to let them have a nuke. We just can't. Right. People in Rome should hope not. Them missiles they have, I think, will reach some of Europe. Now, you are right. If they fire a nuclear warhead, they're gone. They don't have the capabilities to fire a missile into the United States.
No.
But there are some suitcase nuclear warhead bombs from Russia that are missing, and they think one of them is in the United States. So,
I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's going to be 2 weeks. We'll see what the game plan is about the 4th of July.
Those countries have billions of dollars to spend. There are a lot of deep, nasty people in the world, ex-CIA terrorists, ex-terrorists from other countries. There's someone on Israel's side that has been bought and paid for also. It always happens. It just takes one of those bombs to get put somewhere.
Yeah.
And a major event would happen.
I just wish it wasn't always our problem.
It always is. But it's also because we get in the middle of everybody else's shit all the time. If we'd mind our own business a little bit.
Goes back to the sanctions that guy was talking about.
We should have never given them all that cash in the middle of the night. That's when this all started happening. And then the last 3 years, Biden and them didn't do shit. And that's where we're at. We were an inept government for 4 years that everybody walked all over because we was trying to be woke. I mean, you think about it. The guy that was the health and service guy wearing a fucking dress, Rachel Levine or whatever his name, Bob, who changed his name to Rachel or stuff. That's the kind of shit we had running our military.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why we're facing all these problems nowadays. What last thing before we get off here?
We got 30 minutes.
Okay. What do you think about? I think we need to knock out that deal and stay out of it. Missile it and be done with it. Because those people over here that hate us now, if they're going to do a terror attack, they're trying to do it anyways.
Yeah.
I don't think us blowing up their nuclear testing site's going to change things. But I don't want no more than that. We drop the bomb and we get the hell out. Leave it alone. We're done. That's the only thing I would like to see us do. So that I would like to see do. Another thing in our country right now, we're going through all this ICE stuff. Everywhere you look at, ICE. They're here, they're taking people. I love everybody in the world. I don't dislike there are very few people I dislike. But if you're here illegal, you've had every opportunity to get legal for the last 30 years. No matter who you are, you've had that opportunity. You are breaking the law.
It's too late now.
Yeah. I mean, you've broke the law. You know, you turn on the TV in LA and there's people waving Mexican flags and burning the U.S. flag and stuff. Why should we freaking... And most of those people probably aren't illegals. They're on the payroll of George Soros.
Right.
But why should... If I go to Mexico... You just got back from Costa Rica. Could you imagine going to Costa Rica and burning a Costa Rican flag? You said they don't have no military. I bet they got some cops down there.
Yeah.
I don't think they would appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, could you imagine if you moved to Costa Rica like you were talking about, and you said your wife was going to be hooking down there?
Maybe. It just depends on how tight things get.
But could you imagine the Costa Rican government giving you money?
Right.
Just to live there?
Right. Yeah, we had a plan to like make it work down there.
Yeah, work. You were going to have to work, right?
Yeah.
But these people come over here and they don't expect. They get, and not a lot. And there's
Some
a lot
of them hook though.
Well, there's some that hook, but there's a lot of good companies out here that have been hiring illegals to get stuff done because Americans are lazy.
They are.
But if we'd cut off some America's shit, we wouldn't have as many illegal people.
Right. Make them starve like everybody else.
Yeah. And so if we do that shit, they suckers will go back to work.
Yeah.
I feel really, really, really bad for the people that have gotten themselves in these situations. I do. But you're here illegal. You're not a citizen here. I don't think you should have rights that a citizen has. Go back to Mexico, get your paperwork, and come over here and work legally, and we'd love to have you. I don't know anybody in the United States that says, they're a hard worker. We don't want them here. No, we need workers. Mm-hmm. And if you want to come over and work and live the American dream and become a millionaire or a billionaire, good for you, but do it legally.
Yeah.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger, who I'm not a big fan of, did you see him?
He did not win over the panel of The View.
Good for him. There ain't a dumber person in the world than them ladies.
I didn't see the whole clip. Did they try to cut him off?
I don't know if they tried to cut him off. He didn't let him. One lady put her hand on his...
Joy, I think.
Trying to do it. Whoopi looked like a stupid bitch yesterday again on the black stuff. She said that?
No.
She come out yesterday and she told a lady, I guess it's their conservative lady that's on there. She was talking about how oppressed the people in Iran are. The Iranian citizens they want this over with. They'll be just like when they did that at Iraq, when they toppled the statue, that people are happy as hell. And she says, you don't understand. She goes, America is not great. Basically, she said, being black in America is just like being an Iranian in Iran.
Oh, boy. Is it? Wow.
You're a millionaire. You live in Beverly Hills. You fly in private jets. You think you're being oppressed?
Right.
It's kind of like the NBA player, the NFL player that's, we're just like slaves. No. You go back to talk to a slave that lived during slavery day, and they'll tell you that you got life beat.
Right.
But we had a black president for 2 terms. We had a black vice president. Every major city in America has got a black mayor.
Right.
But this is like Iran.
Yeah.
Have you seen a gay parade in Iran?
Not many.
No. They'll let you parade, and they'll take your ass right and shoot you right between the eyeballs. Women have to wear a bed sheet around them all the time.
Yeah.
They make 12-year-old girls marry 70-year-old men. The men have 17 wives. They can beat them. Women can't get an education. They can't drive. They can't vote. That's just like being black in America.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's not always firing.
She's out of touch.
Yeah.
But that card that they've played don't work no more.
That's just her pandering.
Well, she was doing a good job of it. But that victim mentality they have is done.
That's the dangerous part is you start believing that shit.
Yeah, and there's
start believing that you're a victim all the time.
If you're people listening to this are probably not watching The View. I've never watched The View in my life. I see the clips because I make fun of them all the time. I see them. But I'm telling you right now, if your grandmother or your mother is watching The View every day, I'll bet you she's not voting the same way that you're doing.
Right.
Because they hear that same crap all the time. And those people don't know any better.
You are oppressed. Be mad.
But I could not believe that. Said, well, you haven't been a black person. They hang black people in trees. That's what she said.
We did.
No, yeah, we did. No, we didn't do it. Some Confederate guys did. My family didn't even come here. Yes, of course it did. It's happening in Mexico tonight. Somebody last night, a cartel got hung somebody last night.
Yeah.
You want to talk about slavery? The country she's talking about, they have slaves over there.
Yeah.
We don't have slavery in America no more. We beat it. I don't understand. They can't get on that same page. The United States defeated the Confederacy and done away with slavery. Nobody alive today ever owned a slave. My relatives never owned a slave. Matter of fact, there's a good chance probably I have some in my family that might have been a slave more than being a slave owner.
Right.
But give me a break on this crap. But she's talking about hanging in trees and stuff. Black people in 1850 did not have a good life in America. I 100% agree with her on that. But it's 2025. We've moved on. Mm-hmm. Iran in 2025 is not the same.
She hadn't moved on.
No. Yeah, she has. I don't know how she was born and raised, but her fat ass needs to get on some diet medicine and get her brain together is what she needs to do.
Get another haircut.
I can't believe Ted Danson dated her.
She never has been a looker in my eyes.
Oh, nobody. Ray Charles wouldn't think she was good looking.
Maybe she was funny.
She ain't that funny.
Maybe that's what
there ain't
drove Ted Danson into
There
it.
is no funny enough in the life to make her attractive.
Maybe she made him chuckle in bed.
Oh man, I'm telling you. That's no.
But Arnold was right, though. If you come over here, you have an obligation to contribute.
Yes. Be proud to be an American. Work for it. Do things for it.
And I think he is a proud American. Don't always agree with everything that he says, but I think that he is genuinely proud to be over here.
Oh, I think
And
so.
I think he's proud of what he accomplished over here.
Yeah, he should.
And he knows that this is the only place he could have done that. There's a lot about Arnold I don't agree with about what he says, but I do think that he is a proud American.
And he has every right. He came over here as an immigrant, busted his ass, started out poor, made something in his life to become a governor of California. I don't agree with him politically on everything that he says or does, but he was 100% spot on the other day. Mm-hmm. And we live in a town, I'm guessing the demographics is 70% Hispanic Mexicans. They're not Hispanics, they're from Mexico. And 90% of them are in line with everything going on in the country right now.
Right.
From ICE to President Trump to everything. I would honestly say that probably the Mexicans in our area are more in line with what Trump's doing than the white people are at a percentage wise of the population. And God love them. They understand. And if you go to South Texas or you go to California, Arizona, New Mexico along that border, you'll see a completely different thing than what was there 9 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's nobody there.
No, it's safe now. We don't have millions of people coming over here. We don't know who they are. Earlier, you talked about America being healthy. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, the countries are taking all these big companies.
Getting all the food dies out.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because I think RFK is the only one fucking working right now.
But why, if it was not bad, are they doing that now?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's a reason they wouldn't be taking them out if it wasn't bad. I mean, if there was, it was
addictive.
Yes, and so now it's going to be gone, and I think that's great for our country, and for the health of our kids and adults. Mm-hmm. And I think it's wonderful. But prices of groceries have went down a little bit. We went to the grocery store the other day and bought a bunch of stuff, and it was a lot cheaper than it had been.
I hadn't bought anything recently.
I don't comparative price shop because I don't even know what shit costs, but I noticed the amount was a whole lot cheaper the other day than what I was expecting.
Right.
Because I was just going by a grocery cart basket full is $500.
It's still frustrating when you get eggs, bread, and bacon, and you got to hand over that $20 bill.
It's still cheaper than what it was, though, but it's still expensive.
It is,
yeah, I agree with you.
I got 3 things, and here goes this 20. They said the 20 is the new 5. Like back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, the 5 spot was the thing. It's $5 for everything. Now it's 20.
What do you you go to fast food place. Like McDonald's used to be a cheap place to go.
Yeah.
Like you could go to McDonald's. When I was in high school, you could take $5 at night and go out. And we would chip in, there's 4 of us, would chip in a couple bucks a piece for gas for the night. And if you had a $5 bill, you could go to Sonic and get a Route 44 drink twice. We could buy a cheap bottle of cheap liquor for $5 a piece. We'd all chip in $1 or $2. I mean, people are like, oh, that's cheap. Well, that's what it was.
$40 because we got a tradition. We land, we stop at In-N-Out Burger before we go home. I got 3 double doubles, 3 animal fries, 3 drinks, $40.
There's 4 of y'all.
Jesse got Chick-fil-A, so I don't even know what she paid.
$15.
So
I went to Long John Silver's the other day. My friends up north laugh.
yeah.
To me, Long John Silver's is good because we don't have cod and stuff here. Wichita Falls built a brand new Long John Silver's.
They did.
On top of a ghetto heap, they burned it, buried it, and built a brand new store.
Now they got to start all that grease over again.
You can't even get in the damn driveway of the place. It's packed. And a friend of mine,
Everybody's there?
Eric Price wrote on Facebook the other day, goes, it's amazing. Long John Silver's has been there for 30 years. And then all of a sudden now you got a 30-minute wait just to get in the parking lot to eat the same food that you could eat at, but when they didn't have nobody coming through. Some reason them remodeling has made that place packed.
That's crazy.
We had
the same food.
We went to, no, they changed it. They got waffle fries now.
Big whoop.
I
didn't think anything was wrong with their fries to begin with.
I didn't either, but that's the only change I noticed. But anyways,
you're drowning that shit in malt vinegar anyway.
We bought a family pack the other day.
Long John Silver's expensive though.
What do you think of family pack? Now, this is what it includes 6 pieces of fish. No, I lied to you. It's 12 pieces. 12 pieces of fish, chicken, and 12 pieces of shrimp and French fries. And 2 sides, which would have been coleslaw, because their sides are not. What do you think?
$39.99?
$74.
Good God.
I thought we could have went to fucking Papa Do's.
Yeah. Wow.
Then they had side of crab cakes for $10 if you wanted 6 crab cakes or something. I mean, that shit ain't cheap.
$100 bill to get out of Long John Silver?
Yes.
Whoa.
Now, and
I'm not going to bitch about my $40 tab at In-N-Out.
Well,
burger.
but the deal is, I've eaten fish 3 times out of that.
Oh.
So it's worked out pretty good. And I like their chicken too, but it's just funny that how expensive it's got because fast food used to be cheap.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was the appeal to it. You get it quick and cheap.
Yeah. McDonald's used to have a $1 menu. Now it's $4 menu if they even have one. I don't even know if they have a $1 menu anymore.
Probably not. I think there was gonna be the $5 menu.
What was that thing that we had last year where it was just a meal, like a $5 meal?
Yeah.
And had like a cheeseburger.
It's basically the $1 menu.
It's a $5 meal. You get a French fries, something.
Little burger and a drink.
Yeah. For
$5.
$5. But it's expensive to go to those places anymore. But a single mom used to go buy McDonald's and a cheeseburger was 49 cents or 69 cents and a hamburger was 49 cents. You buy your kid 2 cheeseburgers, some fries, and a drink, and it's $3.
Now, like if you're not tech savvy, you can't even order at these places anymore because all of them are going to you punch in your order at the kiosk. They don't even. The last couple of McDonald's I went to, there's not even anybody at the counter to take your order, and they don't have the menu behind them. So it's like if my grandfather wanted to eat McDonald's, he'd be screwed.
Where did we go the other day that we had the kiosk
that
order?
Was in Florida.
And they had a kiosk order.
They have like 7 kiosks set up. There's nobody. They've done away with like the entire front of the house. No menu up there. Nobody at the counter. Everybody's in the back. You punch in your order. Comes out.
And somebody brings it to you?
This is something interesting I saw. It was talking about how bad AI is going to be for us. They said you can expect like, I'm going to get the number wrong, like 20% unemployment plus.
Because nobody's going to need to work.
And it's all going to be white collar jobs, nurses, x-ray techs.
Dude, you're going to lose?
You're going to lose them.
I want a nurse to come talk to me.
You're going to lose them. You'll have like 1 or 2 that are in charge of an area. But like as far as like a hospital staffed with dozens of nurses, you're not going to see that anymore. It's all going to be AI. It's all going to be robots doing it.
I ain't have no robot give me a shot.
But you'll have somebody come in and kind of oversee everything. It's going to be accountants. It's like every white collar job that you can think of is going to be gone with AI and artificial intelligence and robots. So, but that's interesting. Because forever, it's always been the blue collar jobs that kind of got phased out.
Yeah, like those steel workers in the auto industry.
But now it's going to be people that are making $150,000 and above. They're going to be out of a job in 10 years. They said by 2030, like rubber's going to meet the road in America. It's going to be bad. And expect to see record-setting unemployment. And it's all going to be salaries of 150 and above. And how are they going to pivot?
We had a guy here the other day come and talk to me when you was gone, and he showed me the AI music.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
You can put in a couple of write your own lyrics, and then boom, and then
when Shanahan was here, there's an app you can type in what genre you want, what you want the song to be about, and 4 minutes later you got a song, and it's not bad. It wasn't bad. Wasn't great.
He was telling me that if you have a song like that, then you'll get somebody like Luke Combs will come up and hear that. Oh, that's a good song. Then he'll cut it himself too and sing it. But you design the song yourself and you can put someone's voice to it. I want them to sound like, whoever, Elvis. And they can come up with this AI voice that sounds like Elvis. And it is very scary.
This isn't the clip that I saw.
Entry-level jobs in areas like finance, consulting, tech, many other areas like that. Entry-level white-collar work. I worry that those things are going to be first augmented, but before long replaced by AI systems, and that we may indeed. It's hard to predict the future, but we may indeed have a serious employment crisis on our hands as the pipeline for these early stage white collar work starts to contract and dry up.
What's the timeline here?
I would not be surprised if somewhere between 1 and 5 years, we started to see big effects here. You know, I've heard a number of people talk about this in private. AI CEOs talk about this in private. CEOs of other companies talk about this in private. And I really felt that, you know, the message that this is happening hasn't been getting out to ordinary people, hasn't been getting out to our legislators or Congress people either. And so I felt I needed to speak up on the record.
You know,
I'll see if I can find the exact clip that I saw.
I don't want to see him replace Stanley, who works in the accounting or the HR department of a business. I want him to replace the chick working at the window at Popeyes that's got a shitty attitude.
They're already gone though. If you look at
you can't go through a drive-through without someone being there.
Not yet.
How's your food going to get to you? That's what I'm saying. I mean, there still has to be, like, I don't want to go to a hospital that don't have people. I don't want to talk to a computer screen.
That's where we're headed.
I think
there will still be nurses, but it's all gonna, a lot of the mundane stuff, like you said, the shots, the x-rays, the CAT scans, it's just going to be replaced. It's all going to be automated. And then you'll have...
Who's going to wipe your ass?
Well...
You want a robot putting a catheter in you?
I don't think that's
giving
pleasant.
you an IV?
I don't know if that's pleasant.
No, but I'm just saying, I don't... Where are we going to get... So are
half of all office jobs will be taken by AI.
Are we going to have AI wives and husbands?
Maybe. This might have been it.
I'm not disagreeing with anything this guy said. It's just scary, and I just don't see it being good for the future. I just really, really, really don't. It's living in a very clinical, mundane world. It just doesn't look like an interesting place to be.
I think if I can see who the interviewer is here, I would know if this is a clip or not. I'll click on it and just see.
Critical skills are this. Number one, understanding the impact of agentic AI on work. In the next 18 months, 50% of white-collar work will disappear. 50%. I'm not saying 50% of jobs, I'm saying work. Jobs will take longer because CEOs will take some time to realize this. Most CEOs are not going as deep into AI as I am and haven't yet understood how to apply this in their companies. But when you do, you would change everything. That's number one. Number two, it's understanding what's happening right now with health and longevity, because we have the capacity right now to extend our lifespans to well over 100 years and be healthy and be fit and be young. And third, understanding the power of the human mind in shaping our reality. In Dubai in January 10th.
That wasn't it. But anyway, you get my drift. It's not looking pretty if you expand the timeline a little bit. So I don't know, but it's just interesting because, you know, when it was the blue collar job, not many people were.
No, you start thinking these are boys' jobs.
The poor auto worker had to go pivot or, you know, whatever. But now you
learn how to code or whatever he said.
Yeah, you know, figure it out. But now you get some of these guys losing their jobs, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but it doesn't sound good.
No.
But it's just a matter of time before plumbers and everything else. I don't know. We'll see. All right, we got Ramsey Russell coming up. We need to get off of here. I don't know what we talked about that made any sense or got ironed out, but
we didn't iron out anything because there ain't nothing to iron out.
Other than AI is bad.
AI is bad.
AI is bad. So, yeah, unemployment right now is 4.2%. In 5 years, they're projecting it to be 20%. Is what that, according to ABC News.
And those are good jobs.
It's the ones everybody works so hard for.
One thing about it, in the hunting industry, I don't see
it.
Bob the robot taking you hunting.
I mean, we've got a friend that his daughter is an x-ray tech. What's going to happen when all that goes down to Sally the cart wheels in and you put your arm in there and there's one person, you know what I mean? There could be an entire industry that goes. Or like I said, each hospital has one person to oversee the x-rays.
I would like to see the numbers on a McDonald's that's fully robotic almost as compared to one that's not, on the amount of screwed up orders.
I could probably tell
the amount of customer service complaints and the profit margin. Because them people that own them restaurants,
oh, they're happy as hell.
Yeah, just like the guys in Windthorst that's got the dairy that's fully robotic.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we've got a guy coming to hunt with us this year that does that. He's got a fully robotic dairy, but they don't have to worry about people calling in sick.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's an expensive endeavor to get into and to start, but in the long term, it's a good deal.
Right. He probably won't get back to me in the time that I got to get off of here.
All right. Thank y'all for listening to us. God bless y'all. Have a great day.
Love you. Bye.
Watch for deer.
Watch for deer. Where's my shit at? I'm still not where I need to be.